Live from NPR News, I'm Corva Coleman. The Justice Department has announced terrorism charges against 6 leaders of Hamas. That includes the group's political chief, Yahya Sinwar. 3 of the defendants are dead. The other 3 face several charges, including conspiracy to murder U.S. nationals. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland says 1 American was just killed by Hamas.
This weekend, we learned that Hamas murdered 6 more hostages, including Hirsch Goldberg Poland, a 23-year-old Israeli American. We are investigating Hirsch's murder and each and every one of the brutal murders of Americans as acts of terrorism.
Court papers say Hamas killed at least 43 Americans in the October 7th attack on Israel and took at least 10 Americans hostage. Pressure is growing inside Israel, demanding that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu make a ceasefire with Hamas. There have been days of protest since news that Hamas killed 6 hostages. They were slain just as the Israeli troops were approaching the part of Gaza where they were held. NPR's Hadil Al-Shalchi reports critics include one of Israel's leading political figures.
Former general and emergency war cabinet member Benny Gantz called on Prime Minister Netanyahu to quit if he can't reach a ceasefire deal. In a speech Tuesday, Gantz told Netanyahu to, quote, hand over the keys and go home. He also said Netanyahu has lost his way and sees himself as a state, which is dangerous. Gantz doesn't have enough influence to sway Netanyahu, but his voice adds to the growing pressure from inside Israel for the prime minister to accept a deal and eventually end the war in Gaza. A major sticking point in the negotiations is the Israeli military presence on the Gaza-Egyptian border. Hamas wants a complete withdrawal, something Netanyahu is adamant not to do. Hadil Al-Shalchi, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul is expressing outrage at the alleged behavior of one of her former aides. Hochul's former deputy chief of staff is accused of acting as an agent for the Chinese government. From member station WNYC, John Campbell reports.
Linda's son spent more than 10 years in New York state government, the last 2 with Governor Hochul's administration. Federal prosecutors say she used her position to push the Chinese government's views, including by keeping the governor from interacting with Taiwanese officials. Hochul told WNYC she fired the aide last year after uncovering evidence of misconduct.
I'm furious and I'm outraged and absolutely shocked at how brazen her behavior was. It was a betrayal of trust.
Son and her husband are accused of leaning on people with ties to the Chinese government for assistance. They helped her husband's business export lobsters to China, which brought in millions of dollars the couple allegedly used to buy a Ferrari and expensive homes. The couple has pleaded not guilty. For NPR News, I'm John Campbell in Albany.
You're listening to NPR News.